Hi, and welcome to the Your Story Studios podcast, a podcast where we talk about all things content creation. Today, I'm joined by Jonesy, and today we are going to be talking about, do you need to go to university and get a degree to do video production?
Thanks for having me. No, you don't. You don't need it. I think one of the biggest things in this day and age is you can just go and do anything now. People aren't locked down to jobs that they have held for their entire life. You can just do whatever you want. That said, I think university, going to film school is incredibly useful. I think people really underestimate how much it sets them up for a successful career. I know a lot of people who haven't gone to university and had successful careers, but the people who have pretty much swear by it and pretty much add it to their things that have made them who they are as a video production specialist.
Yeah, that's interesting. So for those that are listening or watching and don't really know much about both of our video production journeys, we both went to university. I have my degree on the wall, and we actually both went to the same university, probably like a decade apart.
Yeah, about right.
Maybe more, actually. I was there 2005 to 2007, and you were at
2018 to 2022.
Yeah, so you were there a lot more recent than I was. But tell me about your university experience.
My university experience is actually pretty good. Outside of COVID knocking us on our ass, I went there coming out of high school wanting to do, video and make stuff. And I had a great time. I met a lot of great people. I had a lot of great experiences. I had a few not so good experiences and met a few not so good people, but that comes to the territory. I think I just made some fantastic content when I was there, little short films, little TV productions, all these little things that just kind of help build my skill set. And that's the big thing about university, it's just building skill set. Even though, you try all these different things and they may not work out, you're giving yourself room to fail and room to explore and room to try new things. Whereas I think if you don't try and do that, you're kind of setting yourself up for going into a world where you're going to fail harder. You're in a world with a nice safety net. And then when you come out of it, you're going to get knocked around a bit.
With university as well, you can learn a lot in university, but then when you come out, you haven't learnt everything. Like you are still learning. And that was one of the big wake-up calls I had when I finished university and started working in the real world. I never stopped learning, and I haven't stopped learning. There's always something new to learn. But when I reflect on my university time, I can remember being in a first year seminar and learning about 3-point lighting and all that kind of stuff. And at the time, I didn't know anything about that. This is all new information. It's all very helpful and really, the foundation of a lot of the video production stuff that I do today. But fast forward to 2024, I can just watch YouTube and learn the exact same thing, but I just don't get my hands on the equipment right there and then. I could watch a video and learn the principles and concepts and all that kind of stuff, but then I'd have to go out and buy the equipment or rent it or get onto a set to actually be able to learn by doing. And that's pretty much how I learn. I learn by doing. It's not always just listening to people. So what would you say to that? Would you say that the YouTube university path is something that can replace university, or do you really think that being able to be in a room with a real lecturer and other people in the room as well to learn by doing and all that kind of stuff, is that more valuable?
I wouldn't say it's more valuable. I think it's all about the learning and what you get out of it. I think here's an experience from my life. In my first year of university, I failed the foundational camera subject.
How?
I was awful at it. I didn't go into it seriously. I wasn't taking it seriously. I was kind of half-assing it. And I really wasn't getting the most out of it that I could have. Bit of an L, as the kids would say. But that's what it was. And then after that, I decided to go home, do my learning on YouTube, figure stuff out online. And then when I did another cinematography class the year after, I absolutely knocked it out of the park. I knew everything that they talked about, everything. But that's just my experience, So there is merit to learning stuff online, 100%. But I think university, even though the piece of paper doesn't matter at the end of the day, no one cares about that in most situations. I think that there is merit to going to it and giving yourself a place to learn, a place to network, and a place to grow as an individual. Learning stuff, you will learn more stuff on set. That's a flat blanket rule. Everyone will learn more by doing than by hearing it talked in front of the class for a lecturer. But the benefits that it gives you in setting yourself up to have gear accessible, giving you people who can give you advice and, the learned advice, it's not just someone who's done it once and then just said it. They've actually done the learning and they've done the work. They know what they're talking about. You're getting that mentorship. That's really invaluable.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the greatest pieces of value from going to university is having access to the equipment and not having to go rent it out and pay money to get it. But with that said, you're paying money to go to university. So my big question would be, instead of spending that money, and depending on where you live in the world, I know that going to college in America can be quite expensive. It can be quite expensive here in Australia, depending on how you do it. Would it be a wiser investment in money to go the YouTube university path and save the money from paying university fees and investing into your own equipment or renting out things as well, and doing it that way? And that, if you're not going to university for 3 or 4 years, you can start your career, I guess, earlier. Would that be something that you think would be a wise decision, or do you think that is completely insane?
I think depending on where you live in the world, it could be a wise decision or absolutely insane, but I'd lean more on the insane decision. I think giving yourself the room to learn is really valuable. I think, you can rent gear, sure, but if you can rent it, but you don't know how to use it properly, or you're not using it to its full effectiveness, or you're just kind of, using it willy-nilly and not really understanding what you're doing with it and learning those skills that you need before you even get your hands on it, you're going to set yourself up for failure. I know a lot of people who have great equipment, but they have no idea what they're doing with it. You can have the best, Ari, Alexa, whatever in the world, but if you're not making good quality content, what are you doing? And I think that's where it does start in university. You're learning things. I know it can be a financial expense for a lot of people, big, things for their lives. But if that's what you want to do, I think that's the way to go about it. I think you can spend money on renting gear and doing it yourself, but giving yourself the room to learn, the room to grow, that's the core part of it. I think, you can rent a camera and use it, but if you don't know what you're doing with it, what are you doing?
Yeah, what's the point? One of the big positives that I had with my university experience was I had the ability to do study abroad. So that's why I'm wearing my UNCG sweatshirt here. And that was a great experience for me. I was 19 when I went over there, and I went to the University of North Carolina, Greensboro, and I was there for 2 semesters. Traveling is something that I was interested in doing, but I also wanted to get my degree and start my career as well. And it was a really good opportunity to merge the travel and the study together and also have that, I guess, lifestyle experience of living in America. So I really enjoyed that. And that's definitely something that if I was talking to someone that's finishing high school and looking at either traveling or doing university, depending on the type of person they are, I would strongly recommend looking into doing a semester abroad, maybe 2, depending on your personality as well, because I chose 2 semesters because I knew once I got there, the first semester would go by so fast, and then you make all these new friendships and all that, and then you have to say goodbye. And some of the people that I knew that went over and only did 1 semester, they regretted not doing the 2. So fortunately for me, I was able to do 2 semesters abroad. I learned a lot over there because their classes were a lot different to how we have them set up here in Australia. They were a lot more practical. I got my hands on a lot more equipment and did a lot more practical projects than what I did at my Australian university. And there was a lot less writing, which I strongly appreciated, whereas in the classes here in Australia, there was a lot of essays, and that wasn't my strength. My strength was getting my hands on equipment and making stuff. So that was something that I enjoyed with my university experience. What would you say to that?
I think it depends kind of what you want to do with it. I think different universities in Australia, in Melbourne especially, have different kind of philosophies about how they teach film. The university that we went to, I think when I was doing it, it was probably a little bit more practical than when you were doing it. But different universities offer different things. Like we have VCA in Melbourne that offers pretty much more director kind of leveled teaching, and that's kind of what you want to do. You want to direct, you want to write, go there. You want to do more practical things, the other universities for that, Deakin, Swinburne, RMIT. If you want to get even more practical and specialized, you've got JMC and SAE, just in Melbourne alone, that kind of offer different things. So for whatever you want to learn, it's there for you in the way you want to learn it.
So with your university experience, you experienced a once-in-a-100-year pandemic. How was that?
It sucked. It sucked so bad. I was in my third year at the time, which was our graduating year. And at the university that we went to in the third year, the first semester is all about writing a script. The second semester is all about producing the film that comes out of that script. And so I remember we got to the first part of the year, that first semester, we written it, we made teams and all that kind of stuff. And then we were 4 weeks out of production when we went into stage 4 lockdowns here in Melbourne, which kind of kept everyone within their homes for an unspecified amount of time.
No, it was specified and then it was extended.
And then extended
again. And then we got our freedom and then it was not locked up. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And that kind of kept going as well. And that was kind of the university. They kind of said, we don't know what's going on, so sucks to be you. So we were kind of made to do Zoom movies and stuff on phones at home, and it sucked. I ended up deferring and deciding to study the year after to try and get out of that because I really wanted to come out of university with a product. And that's kind of what we're talking about, like what are you doing at university? You're making stuff. And I wanted to make a product and I wanted to come out of university with something in my hands that I could say, look at what I've done. Look at my achievement here. Even though it wasn't Flash, I'm pretty sure most of it is still sitting unedited on a hard drive at home. It's something that I can come out of and say, I've done this.
And also in your time at university, I believe you did an internship.
I did do an internship. I did an internship at the agency that we both work at. It was a pretty good time. Internships suck, of course. They're unpaid and you kind of get passed around as a bit of a slave, but it is what it is. It's kind of what you have to do when you're starting out. And I think that was really valuable. I had a lot of opportunities, what I could do with my internship. I had it nearly doing working in OB, an outside broadcast truck, working on local sport and all this other cool stuff that I could have done. But I really wanted something to come out with, a great place to work. And the agency that we work at, they're a great place to work. I really wanted to work there and I'd heard so many things about it. And when I saw them offering it, I kind of leapt at it and took it. And that's another thing I think people discount about university, the kind of pathways that can build for you as well. Like it sets you up to go other places because they have connections. Universities always love getting donations from other people. And so it can just help you go and find your way in life. When you're starting out, you don't know really what you're doing.
Yeah, that's true. After this conversation, where do you lie in regards to YouTube University and going to an actual university? Which one do you see is the better pathway for our audience if they're thinking about that?
I think they both certainly have their merits. And I think both of them have different, pros and cons for whatever way you want to go. I think university is probably one of the still best ways to do it. I think, depending on where you go, of course. I think it can set yourself up for success really, really well. It could be a couple of years out, of your life in a sense before you can really start getting into the industry. But you shouldn't discount that as, time I'm not making money. You should credit it as time you're learning and you're building yourself as a person. And, you're young at the time. You're still a baby. You're 18, fresh out of high school or going into university or whatever. You need to really learn what you're doing and you want to take your best foot forward. And I think that's one of the best ways to go. I think, YouTube and learning online has great qualities to it. You can get some great inspiration from people who work online, great, hot tips and tricks and stuff like that. But realistically, learning by doing is one of the best things you can do. And whatever way you find that in, whether that's going to YouTube, whether that's doing it at university, learning by doing is the crux of it all. You can't just get on set and just hope you're going to do well. You have to learn and you have to do it yourself.
Yeah, that was well said. I was probably going to say some stuff as well, but I think you covered all of that. So that's really good. And to finish off today's episode, do you have any hot takes?
Yeah, man. Whatever you make sucks. I think everyone kind of sometimes looks at their things and they think, oh yeah, this is good. No, take a step back, admit, look at what you've made and what can I do better next time? Sometimes people get a little bit cozy in making stuff that's a bit mediocre that they see as okay. And they kind of have to rewind it back and then be like, what am I doing wrong here? Is there something that I could change? Something I can do better? Because, you always have to keep progressing forward. And if you ever get kind of stuck in where you are and stagnant, it kind of sucks.
Thank you for that reality check. And thank you for coming on the Your Story Studios podcast.
Thanks for having me.